Amid nationwide protests in Iran, the Trump administration calling on the Iranian government to stop censoring social media. Left-leaning publication Newsweek, though, wasting no time, turning the president's remarks into a political fight here in the U.S. A headline on the website today reads, Trump, who blocks Americans on Twitter, tells Iran to unblock social media during protests. Let's take a quick check of the shares of Twitter, closing down slightly. Joining me with his reaction to this Newsweek headline, he is American Islamic Forum for Democracy. He's President Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. Will the president's push to stop censorship of... Wait, well, let me back up. What do you make of this Newsweek headline?
Liz, it's offensive. I mean, listen, as the son of immigrants who escaped brutality of the Ba'athists of Syria, the trivialization of what's happening in Iran, what's happening in Syria, what happened in the Arab awakening, and comparing it to a president who has direct access to the people and may block some people who are inappropriate, but yet has 44 million followers, or however many, and people can get other tags in order to follow him, is just absurd. The president can say who can come into his press conferences. There are other things and other ways in which we have access, and to compare a free system of free speech with checks and balances to a tyrannical regime that has hegemonic jihadism across the globe, that the people are trying to fight for their own rights, is absurd, and I think actually, frankly, is racist in a way that somehow trivializes, I think, the aspirations of so many people that want to be able to express themselves.
How is it racist?
It's racist because somehow it implies that their aspirations in Iran are as trivial as someone who gets blocked from a presidential Twitter feed, but yet has access to all the media and expression methods that we have in the United States. It trivializes their aspirations over there by making the false and inappropriate comparison.
So you're talking about the soft bigotry of low expectations for the Iranian people. Can you give us your assessment of how the media is covering this brutal regime and what it's doing to its people?
I have to tell you, other than the conservative outlets and Fox News, to see how little is being covered. I mean, I look at some of the headlines in the New York Times and CBS and MSNBC, and you wonder which side they're on. The bottom line is this revolution is not being televised other than on conservative media, and the revolution is beginning. We've had for years My Stealthy Freedom, which are women that are taking off the hijab, and now we see this in 20 cities. This is bigger than the Green Revolution was in '09. Why is it bigger? Because they're confronting the theocrats in all of these cities much more, and they're chanting bread, jobs, and liberty. They're chanting death to the dictator. These chants would do more, Liz, to abandon the stereotypes that all Muslims are Islamists, that the left supposedly is on the side of liberals, on the side of feminists, and yet they're not covering it the way we are.
Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, we just showed to the viewer one of the more public symbols of the protests in Iran. It's the woman removing her hijab. This year, anti-Trump campaigners in the U.S. made a woman in a hijab their symbol of resistance. This feels really upside down when you have women, the real war on women going on in the Middle East, women there struggling with the theocrats saying, we don't want to wear the hijab. But then it's flipped upside down here in the U.S. What's going on, doctor?
Here's the teaching moment. For all of the lefties who believe that they are the champions of women's rights and they need to abandon their identity politics and realize here that the image they used in the campaign of the Muslim prototype wearing a hijab, regardless of where you fall as a Muslim on the side of the theological debate of the hijab, the freedom to wear it or not wear it is what epitomizes the fight against tyranny in Iran and Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. So now as we see women take off their hijab, they're fighting for the right to have their own bodily autonomy, which I thought the left was all about, which is personal bodily autonomy, and yet they abandoned the entire country's revolution in Iran in the name of identity politics and the abuse of women in America, which is Muslim women that identify as representing all of us because they wear a hijab, and that's absurd.
Doctor, we're so sorry we ran out of time there. We love having you on. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, come back soon.
Thanks, Liz.
Almost